HarperCollins presents Letters to My Younger Queer Self, inspiring influential voices from the LGBTQIA+ community. By Daniel Harding, read by Daniel Harding. To my Nan, you loved a postcard, 3 rings to say that we were home safe, and, most importantly, me, all of me, even without truly understanding who I was, or my own letter, G, in the queer alphabet of life. In a rainbow full of people who all deserve to be seen. Thank you, Nan. You inspired me more than you could ever know. We all deserve a moment feeling big in a world that often makes us small. We all need that unconditional support wherever it comes. We all deserve our letter, our place. This is for every one of us, all of our letters. None should be banned. To send a letter is a good way to go somewhere without moving anything but your heart. Phyllis Theroux. Dear listener, have you ever sat down to a desk, felt inspired and grabbed a pen? Have you ever stared in the mirror and paused for a moment, studying who you have become? Have you ever taken a moment to acknowledge the battles you have fought and the distances you have travelled? Have you ever written yourself a letter? Over the past few decades, our interactions have changed dramatically. In our fast-paced lives, consumed by tech, I often wonder if we've lost the true art of communication. Whatever happened to the postcard? The short note that reached your gran weeks after you'd returned from your break, regaling stories condensed into a tiny space aimed at one person, the recipient, because you cared to share something just with them. The postcard only had space for a few passing thoughts, but the dominant one being the wish that the reader were there with you. Even the greeting card has lost its sentiment. The process of carefully selecting a design, finding a biro in that drawer, and scribbling furiously in the hope that it still works. Then, physically, writing a personal dedication to somebody worthy of the time it took you to buy, write, and post the card is dying out for many. Instead, we see an automated 4-step online process with a reminder sent to you on the same day, every year, and a questionable photo plastered on the front. Do you remember when the text message used to consist of one long, considered paragraph instead of a flurry of one-liners? No little dots to indicate typing or seeing if someone was online, just one hit. Then we'd await the response, probably while playing Snake. Whatever happened to the letter? Recently I went to Rhodes, and for 5 indulgent days I allowed myself the pleasure of relaxing. To actually do the thing that we're meant to do on a holiday, recharge and ignore the stresses and strains of the life that I had popped on pause. I read books, swam in the sea, and drank watered-down cocktails with a smile plastered across my sunburnt face. I tried hard not to check work emails, muted news, entertainment, and Real Housewives of Another State or Selling Something, and switched off. One afternoon when my phone was dead as I hadn't charged it, who was I? I sat and people-watched. I observed a group of sunburnt Brits drop off into the water. I marvelled at a lady who was now reading her 3rd book, and then I clocked a man. It wasn't his tiny solar system swimming trunks that perplexed me, although you could clearly see Uranus, but the fact that he was on a lounger, pen in hand, writing on a piece of paper. He seemed to be writing a letter. For the next hour and a half, 3 Long Island iced teas and 2 bowls of olives, I watched this unfamiliar scene unfold, all the while asking myself, when did I last write a letter? Was it while I was at school? I found English literature class in senior school hard. You had to think about grammar, tone, reasoning, and why things were portrayed in the way that they were. For me, it was a difficult, confusing, draining lesson. At the time, I hated reading. I hated old stories on stormy heaths or period pieces with dialogue written in a way that I'd never speak. There were characters that I didn't relate to, with stories nothing like mine. Nothing like the feelings brewing inside of me. Nowhere in the tomes of literature devoured and dissected did I see myself. What I loved in those lessons, however, was my pencil case. It bulged and had far too much in it. A compass that pricked me every time I dived in. A protractor, did I ever use that? A ruler that folded in the middle because of course you always need 30 centimetres to hand. And pens. I had black, blue, red, green, pink, even gel ones. An all-inclusive buffet of implements. My pencil case had it all. It made me happy. Sure, the majority of the pens were chewed at the end, an unfortunate byproduct of nerves. When in doubt, or if I needed a moment of escape, I'd rummage. In a pencil case of comfort, looking for an answer to a question that I didn't even know I needed to ask. Who am I? I wish that I could go back in time and tell that little gay boy, my younger self, who was desperate to silence the comments and disappear into his pencil case, that it's going to be okay. You're
Sample complete. Ready to continue?